balance of the time for questions. Start off with the operations organization. Customer service, desktop support, network operations center, NOC, is commonly referred to, technical support, and field support. The customer service organization is currently rolled into the network operations center. It is not yet a separate organization. We will very shortly be setting up a separate CSC, or customer service center, out in Houston. Take advantage of our organizational and space out there. Desktop support was recently rolled into operations, separated from the enterprise part of the IT organization, which is also now part of operations as a core. Technical support and field support work in conjunction with the network operations center folks as well as customer service to provide higher level technical support as well as on-site hands-on support for the equipment that's out there. And the field ops people who are here today are people you'll be working with quite a bit, I'm sure. And as I said, the enterprise network group, which does the email, Lotus Notes, the common internal LAN type network connections, also doing the OSS and all the billing type of support. And you'll be hearing a lot from them. Kind of roll into some of the things we do. We'll get into more detail on some of the monitoring and management, as well as the ticketing systems that we have here. We right now have a basic topology type monitoring system that rolls into the network using HP OpenView. It's an auto discovery type system. Rolled into that are more advanced tools like Seagate Nerve Center, which is a little more intelligent, give us a real view of what the network looks like as well as all the systems that are on it. Using Sienna Wave Watcher for the DWDM equipment that some of you are probably very familiar with. Cisco Works 2000, of course, for the Cisco particulars. And Micromuse Omnibus, which is a front-end integrator for the operations people. Primarily right now in the NOC. Eventually we're going to roll it out to the field so everybody can look at how the network looks in a real-time fashion, centrally at the Network Operations Center and specifically at the different field sites. Of course, capacity planning is very important. We touched on that actually a few times in different presentations. You have a lot of different products and a lot of different customers competing for what is essentially a finite resource, which is network type resources. Bandwidth, of course, also server, process time, etc. In order to constantly be one step ahead of the use, you have to have a planning structure, and we currently do that in conjunction with a lot of the same tools that we're using here. Of course, the output of all this, happy customers and money, which is what we're all here for. This is probably a little bit difficult to see. Linda has it, she'll be sending it out. This is kind of a topology of all those different systems I was talking about. For those of you who have been over to the NOC, we have a wall up there of video screens, and we display some of the more common and informative tools that we have up there. The one in the lower corner here is the Omnibus tool that I was talking about. Very color intensive. Look up, heads up display. One time you see red, red's bad. Yellow, not good, but not quite as bad. And green you'll see when they're clear. Kind of a topological map of the United States right now, since we are North America. Upper corner, of course, being New York. Upper corner on the other side being Portland. You get the idea. Green, again, good. Yellow means there's some problem underneath that. And using the tool, you can actually mouse click and drill down to see the individual sites. We love visitors over there, so if any of you haven't been there or haven't been there recently, please stop by. We'd be glad to give you a tour and go through all these tools in more detail. The NOC folks themselves right now, the customer service / NOC center, people sit in a dual tier type organization. 6 people on site at any given time is the maximum we have capacity for now, which is why we're very interested in getting this distributed out with a secondary site out in Houston. The 2 sites will be working not as a backup and primary, as some of you may have seen at previous organizations, but they'll actually be working together as one virtual call center and network operations center. So that if you're a customer calling in, you don't know whether you're talking to somebody in Houston or you're talking to somebody in Portland. It's all transparent. So you get the same level of service no matter who you get. And they can back each other up. In case of power loss, God forbid, natural disaster, we'll never project it to the outside world. Escalations. This is more on the process side. A lot of times people wonder what's happening when they put in a call. I haven't heard from anybody in an hour. You guys still working on this? You guys take vacation? Anybody even in the NOC today? Of course they are. What we have is an automated system that will inform the Network Operations Center technicians when to escalate based on the priority or the severity of the problem. And these are based in levels. There's a managerial and a technical. The technical escalation is there to ensure that the right resources are applied to fixing the problem at the right time. The managerial escalations are there to make sure that the management chain is informed so that they can make sure that everything's happening as smoothly, that every resource that can be engaged is engaged to get the customer back up on the air as soon as possible. First level escalation. For priority 1, which is something is down, something is not working, that's immediate escalation to the shift lead on site, as well as the POP managers, the field ops folks who are here today, and the lead technician in the Network Operations Center. I'm sorry?
That would come up red.
The problem itself would come up red on the map. Yes, it would. Excuse me. Technical difficulty. It would come up on the map as something that's down. And again, an error, high error condition would come up as a yellow. Second and third level, NOC managers informed after 30 minutes of a down condition. Again, technical support, which is an engineering level support, lower level engineering support, the gauge after half an hour as well. Third level, the production support director, which is myself, as well as the local field ops director, which is based on region, and the engineer support. These are the people that work directly with the actual application and network engineers, so they're very privy to what's going on and how this stuff is really architected. And that's after 1 hour in an outage, and the lower priorities you see are based on different levels that we've set. Pretty boring stuff unless you're actually into it, but I can go over the levels with anybody that really wants to. The fourth and final level of escalation is to the VP of Operations, which is Lorraine Simmons, of course, and the engineers will continue to work with the vendors and also with the actual engineering, the excuse me, product development folks, the actual network architects, and they will get the problem solved, whatever resources are needed to be engaged. Again, I said the final level escalation is the fourth level. Of course, if it's not fixed by then, we don't just stop working. We do contact other people as necessary. That's real short and sweet, hopefully. I would like to entertain any questions.
Yeah. About customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what your plans are to support the product specifically? If somebody's calling up and saying, yeah, my media cast isn't coming out right, I'm getting buffering or something,
right.
Or someone has a problem setting up an encoder or something like that, are you going to be set up to support?
Yeah, part of that is organizational, obviously, getting a separate organization in place. We are going to have a separate organization in Houston once we get the facilities there, and they will have all the tools necessary not only to verify what the product is capable of doing, but also able to work with the customer in as much of a hands-on fashion as possible. They'll actually be able to replicate the customer's setup. For instance, they're having that buffering problem. They'll go to somewhere in our network and try to reproduce that problem.
I'm sorry, did that?
Yeah, the only other question is, how will we find out when these things are available and when we can, tell the customer it's okay to call?
Well, the number won't change. Right now, the 800 number, 267-7028, right now goes to the Network Operations Center. Once we get a separate customer service organization in place, it'll go there instead. We want to make it as seamless and transparent to the customers as possible. We can't keep a secret here anyway, so I'm sure you guys will find out about it. But no, we'll be sure to let everybody know. Sorry.
That kind of addressed my question. A formal date as to when the desktop support would be transferred. But if it's seamless, then
Yeah, I'm sorry, desktop support or the customer service?
This is, well, I guess I'm considering it the same thing.
Okay.
But, so somebody who's having problems from the distribution partner side, they're calling into this number, and currently it's going to you guys, and it will eventually be going to Houston?
Correct.
Okay.
And the customer service center will handle both internal and external calls. So if somebody's having, that's why one of the clarifications on desktop support, somebody is having a problem with an internal application or an internal process, they'll call the same number, they'll get the same group of people, and they'll be directed as appropriate. Contact me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about read-only remote access for a lot of the operational statistics? Is that available?
The actual raw data?
Yeah, or just like in being able to see the graphs and a lot of displays from the NOC remotely. Several things thinking of here is that one is that some companies are like putting that out on extranets. Some of that, selected information. I don't think, I'm looking especially like at AboveNet, and they have a lot of that information out there.
Yeah, part of that is a challenge in really boiling out what you really want customers or outside people to see, and there's almost always some kind of manual intervention there. Right now, we don't really have the trend analysis data to be able to do that. Working with Matt, of course, we do want to eventually make that available first to the extranet, and then eventually to the internet community at large. Kind of you don't want to get too much into detail for outside folks for obvious reasons, for intelligence reasons, if nothing else. And you really want to present it in a graphical format, kind of a weather report. If you're aware of the Internet Weather site, gives you a general status on how things are looking at the moment without giving you a lot of detail. We want to make all that detail available, however, to everybody who's internal and needs to know that.
And what about internal within the company? Like I know one thing that I would kind of like is being able to get into at least have a read-only access to the Wave Watcher, so that I can check to see. One of the things that we're planning to do to shorten up the provisioning cycle for that is put in a channel before a customer comes up, and once we get an order, all those cards are already inserted in that route, and then all we have to do is just do a final test and turn it over to the customer. Then we'd have to have operations go back and insert the next channel. We'd have to order that channel, order the cards for it, insert it, and I'd like to be able to kind of second check that.
Yeah, specifically with Wave Watcher right now, we're in an older version of it. The newer version is due out next month, and that has a little more liberal license requirements. We can actually give read-only access to people. So the next challenge after that is being able to distribute that from the server side, because right now we're looking at it more from a network perspective. Everything is centered here in Portland. So we don't want people coming in and making multiple connections to a machine whose job it is to monitor the network, because you actually impact performance by having a number of hits on it. We want to distribute that out to all the sites, so you just go to the local POP near you. You get all the same data. It's all available to you. You're just putting a little less stress on the network, and you're putting a lot less stress on the individual server that has to handle all those requests. The next version, Sienna, again, particularly, the next version after it's out in October, roll it out into a laboratory environment, and we should have it up available to everybody on a read-only fashion by December. So get back to me if you don't hear anything. But yeah, I'm more than happy to provide that. It's just a matter of architecting it so it can handle that without impacting the actual performance monitoring. I expect everybody to jump on me. Doug, you gave me a hard time earlier.
You answered all my questions, Jim.
I did?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm depressed.
Anything else? Thank you.